Hello everyone and welcome to the Tulare Public Library. My name is Brittany and I'm here with you for April's Adult Craft, which I'm really excited about this month. We celebrated National Library Week from April 4th to 10th, so in honor of that, this month's craft is going to be a hardcover book display box. Really excited about this one. So we did have a limited supply of craft bags available, so if you picked one of those up, it would include a hardcover book as well as some Mod Podge glue. I'll go over the other supplies that we will need to complete today's craft with you before we get started. But in case you weren't able to grab a craft supply bag, I do encourage you, if you have a beloved book at home that you've gotten a lot of use out of and are looking for something different to do with it, this would be great to use. And in addition, I wanted to remind everyone that we are having our Friends of the Library book sales. Generally, it's the first Friday and Saturday of every month, but you can always give us a call here at the library to confirm. If you're looking for a hardcover book for use for this craft, visiting our used book sale is a great way to do that, to give these beloved stories another life. And then lastly, before we get started, I just wanted to remind everyone that we have two really fabulous books in our collection for checkout. I have used these myself multiple times, and they're perfectly in theme with our craft today. So I just wanted to let you all know that we have the Repurposed Library, which has a lot of great ideas for using your books in different ways. And we also have book art, which is another fabulous one. So at the end of this video, I will include a slide that has the title and author of both of those so that you can find them easily in our catalog if you're looking to put them on hold. All right, so let's go ahead and go over our materials and then let's get started. All right, everyone, so let's review the supplies that we'll need today. So we have a hardcover book, and again, because we are doing a display box, it does need some nice structure, so hardcover is really the best kind for this. I have some Mod Podge here, which is a water-based glue. Any type of glue works really. We're just going to be using this as a sealant along the edges to make sure that our box is nice and strong. And the additional items that you'll need that weren't included in the craft bag is I have a ruler or any kind of straight edge works. I have both a pencil and a fine tip Sharpie. Pencil works fine. I, most importantly, have an X-Acto knife. Any type of craft blade or box cutter works for this. We just need something to cut away the pages. And then at the ready here, I have just a small stack of paper towels. I'm just going to use these to spread the glue. And I do have a piece of cardboard that I have sized to my book here, and I'll show you what we're going to use this for. All right, so let's get started. So I'm going to move everything aside here so that we can just focus on the book. All right, so we've given out different hardcovers. Some of them have pictures in front, some of them have beautiful title pages. You'll notice mine, this is a book that has gotten a lot of wonderful use here at our library, and I have this really cool contact paper. So it's really up to you to decide what you want the opening of your box to look like. There are a couple of different options here. I could make this contact paper be the top of my box. I could open and glue so that text is the top of my box. In this particular one, I did notice that there was this beautiful little title page here, the Franklin Library of Mystery Masterpieces. I just absolutely love the way this looks. So I'm actually going to cut this out and affix this to my book. So again, this is a little personalized touch. Everyone will have gotten different books, so you can decide what you want yours to look like. But I am just going to quickly use my X-Acto knife to cut away this really interesting image. Now, you'll notice that I'm using my cardboard for backing here. So the reason that I have a piece of cardboard, but you can use any solid surface if you have a clipboard, if you have anything that's just going to create a barrier between the page that you're cutting and the rest of the book. So that's why I have that here. Now, after having used my X-Acto knife to cut this out, I'm simply going to remove this here. Okay. And I've decided I think it would look really fun to just have this glued and taped here. So I'm going to keep this as my backing. The next thing that I want to do is decide how much to get rid of between my opening and my first page. So I'm going to open to the first available page that has a full page of text. And for my purposes, I want to cut into this page and have this be my background. So what I'm going to do is use my X-Acto knife. I'm going to reposition my body so that I am not cutting towards myself. Of course, we always want to practice really, really good craft knife safety. So I'm going to make sure that my fingers are out of the way. I'm going to hold what I want to cut away, and I'm simply going to make an incision here along the spine of the book. Now with X-Acto knives, as I'm sure many of you have discovered if you've used them in the past, you want to make sure that you put a lot of downward pressure so that you're cutting through more than one page at a time. Sometimes you have to go over it a couple of times and it can be a little bit tricky, but that's what I'm doing here. And just for the sake of making sure I don't mess anything else up, I'm actually going to put my cardboard backing here. And then, once again, I'm going to use my X-Acto knife to cut through this group of pages. And at some point, all right, so now I've got that initial top cutaway. I'm just going to clean up the edges, if there are any jagged pages here that need to be cleared out. If you want to cut a little bit closer to the boundary, then we can go ahead and do that here. All right, so this looks good for my purposes. And to complete my nice little decoration here, I'm going to use a dab of my Mod Podge glue. You can use a brush, you can use a sponge, you can use your fingers. For my purposes, just to keep it a little clean, I'm just going to use one of my paper towels, kind of bunch it up, and simply dab inside the glue. Now, for this Mod Podge glue to work, you only need a very thin layer. So I'm simply going to spread a thin layer of my glue here on the back. And then, since my box is going to be opening this way, I'm going to adhere this fun little piece right here. And then I'm just going to put some nice pressure on that glue so that it can affix and eventually dry. So I've got my top. Okay, now the next thing that we're going to work on getting together is I am going to measure or get a sense of what cutout I want to make in the middle here. So the way that I kind of judge this is as follows. For me personally, for it to be a beautiful book display box, I want to see the text on the page. If I cut here, it would just be a blank border, and I think it's much less charming. So what I'm going to do is use my straight edge here. I'm going to align it with the edge of the page, and I'm going to draw a line here so that I can see text in the border there. I'm going to start right about here because I want the text to be visible on the top as well, and I'm just going to go straight down. Now, I want to do the same thing, and if your line is a little wonky, which it looks like mine is, I'm just going to simply redraw it. We're going to be cutting it out anyway, so that's perfectly okay. All right, so now I'm going to do the same thing on this side. I want to make sure that I leave a border of text so that we can really see that part of it. And I'm going to draw a ruler line to get that nice straight edge there. All right, and then I'm simply going to do the same on the top and the bottom here. Again, I want to leave enough room that there is some text that shows through. And same here. And I can use the lines of text as my straight edge as well. All right, so I am going to now outline this with a black marker just so you can see where I've drawn my lines here, because this is our guide for cutting out the hollowed inside. All right, so now using my X-Acto knife, I am going to cut out the cavity here in the middle. I'm going to use my paper, I'm going to use my cardboard insert to make sure that I'm creating a boundary between the pages that I'm cutting and the pages that I'm leaving whole. Now, this part of the craft is completely up to you. If you would like a really deep display box, I'll show you about how thick my book is here. If you would like a really deep display box, then you could cut, this much out and just leave a little bit at the bottom. If you want a really shallow display box, you could choose to cut out less so that you have a thicker bottom here. So for me, I think I'm gonna meet somewhere in the middle. So I'm gonna take about half the pages here and I'm going to slide my cardboard barrier underneath. That way, when I'm using my X-Acto knife, it's gonna stop so that I still have the bottom visible. The reason that I like to have some options in the bottom here are because I want to leave this page so that the text shines through. Technically, you could cut through all of the pages, but then you don't get that beautiful look of a book. So that's why I'm choosing to do it this way. Again, I'm going to slide my cardboard here, move this out of the way, and then that way I know that that is going to be my guide for cutting. Now, with my X-Acto knife, I'm going to follow the black line and cut through until I hit my cardboard. I will let you know that in my practice run of this, I discovered that this can take a little bit of time and finesse, so I might speed that part up so I'm not making you all sit around. But just know that when you start cutting, the way that I have figured out to do it is cut through and then get to the next pages and continually following the line. So I'm gonna get started and then talk you through as we go. So for our first cut, again, I'm gonna follow this black line. I'm gonna put really direct pressure down into the pages so that I can make as deep of a cut as possible. All right, let's get started. All right, everyone, so as you'll now see, I do have quite a few pages that are cut out because my X-Acto knife went down that far. This is about the point when they start coming out. So what I'm going to do now is leave this here with my previous pages gone, and then again, I'm just going to use the border of what I have cut out as the guideline for pressing down and getting more pages. I did want to let you know a really fun tip, and we can remove this top one here. A really fun tip for this is keep your cutouts. You could turn these into postcards, you could turn them into greeting cards, recipe cards, you can do book wreaths and all kinds of book art with this. So don't let anything go to waste. Keep these around for a rainy day, as I'm sure there are multiple uses that you could get out of them. All right, so I'm gonna go back here and I'm just gonna keep cutting down until I hit my cardboard. Once again, I'm going to remove all of the pages that I have been able to remove, and then right back at it, cutting on down. Okay, so I finally finished cutting everything out. You'll notice that this is about the place right here in the book. So if you're looking at the depth where it stops, so I've got a nice, neat little cubby here. As we mentioned before, you'll also have a stack of these beautiful book cutouts. You can use them for cards, postcards, all kinds of different crafts. If I decided that I didn't like the look of the little detectives that I've put here against the contact paper, I could even use these to glue over on the top and give myself even more text for my book box. So that's definitely another option as well. So I just wanted to give you finishing touches here. I'm gonna put this to the side for now. So I highly recommend, because we drew with both pencil and marker on our first page here, I'm going to remove this so that the top page looks nice and clean. So again, I can just lift this up and use my X-Acto knife here. I'm gonna move so that I'm cutting safely. All right, there we go. You'll notice that already that makes such a difference in making sure that we're dealing with a nice clean opening. And then the last thing I wanted to show you is you have the option here. So if you like the look of a display box that you can still, sift through and have loose, then you can leave this as is. However, if you want something that's more sturdy, built to last as far as a display box, then you can use the glue provided. Again, I have Mod Podge here, but you can use any glue that works for you. I'm just going to dab a really thin layer on this paper towel. Again, because you really just need it to have a thin coating. And what I would do is hold my pages together and apply a thin layer starting at one end and pulling to the other. To make sure that the pages that you've cut out are stuck together as one unit. All right, so if I wanted to continue gluing, then I would do this on every outside edge. So I've got my one edge done here. Again, make sure it's a nice thin layer and just remove all excess glue from the hardcover book. And then I can also do it on the top edge of my pages as well as the bottom edge of my pages. I have found myself that while this glue dries, it's really smart to put something heavy on it so that it's weighted so the pages really stick together. So you could simply close your book and put something heavy on top, or you could leave it open and put something heavy on top. Right here, and then just give it a couple of hours to dry. I have a couple of little things from my desk here that I wanted to show you all. So as soon as our display box has dried, I can use it for a variety of materials. So if I wanted to keep some office supplies, I've got my little USB, I've got a notebook here. Oh, look, that just ends up being perfect. I, again, could use this as an open book display with my little treasures here. I could set it up this way so this is against a wall and it's perpetually open that way. Or if you don't want to store any valuables, you could turn it into a flower display. I have some cloth and silk flowers here from the Dollar Tree, and you could simply create a beautiful floral display. Thank you so much for joining me today, everyone. I hope you enjoyed this one as much as I did, and I really hope that you all get a lot of beautiful use out of your hardcover book display boxes. Stay tuned to our website as well as our upcoming calendar of events for additional virtual programming, and I'll see you for the next one. Thank you, everyone. Bye.